Do it live.
Yeah.
All right. Post. Let's start this bad boy up. We're actually on live right now, but it's okay. It's fun. Hey, everyone. We are here. Bangin Beers Podcast, number, I don't know, 13, 12, 11.
12.
We're somewhere up there. With bigGer, Jerry Williams. We were actually just kind of reminiscing and talking a little bit before we started.
Yep.
We got a short beer list today. We're slowly dialing it down. The first couple episodes, we decided we're going to be fucking idiots and drink way too many beers.
Yeah.
But we talked about possible liability issues and stuff, and I don't want to get people smushed and then, hey, drive home, see you later. So 4 beers between three people is not terrible. So we got some cool stuff on deck here. So we got
Three Floyds
Brewing Company,
Dust.
Zombie Dust. Really cool bottle art here. Kind of looks like what's his name? Captain Grayskull or whatever from He-Man.
Yeah.
Oh, Skeletor, you mean?
Skeletor. There it is. We got double blackberry peach sour glycerin.
IPA,
Double IPA by Hudson Valley. Glycerin's funny because it's a song you cover, and I think
popular bar song. Yeah.
Every guy covers that. And then we got. Let me just turn this up just a hair. Check. All right, good. And then we got Victory No Brainer by IPA. I think that's a newer one. By Victory.
Mm-hmm.
Then we got the Leave a Mark Imperial Stout by Black Hog. That's a cool can. It's got like a tattoo gun. I'm actually gonna keep that can. That's gonna be a keeper. Just turn that down just a hair. Alrighty. So how did you well, first off, bigGer, where originally where do you hail out of?
So I'm originally from like the Shenandoah, Monte City area. That's where my dad's parents were. And then when I was in 3rd grade, we moved to Minersville. And I've been residing there ever since. So I'll pretty much say I'm from Minersville, basically.
Mm-hmm. Now, your parents were from Monte City?
My dad was from Shenandoah. My mom was from, she was adopted. She was originally from up in the Benton, Shamokin area. And then when I was a kid growing up until I was in kindergarten, I probably lived in 7 different places in Schuylkill County within the first 5 years of my life. And then we moved to Monte City. I lived on Spruce Street and went to St. Canicus Catholic school. Then moved to Minersville and went to Minersville Elementary and high school and played all my sports there. Grew up. Sorry about my voice. I'm a little hoarse, but
you played last night, right?
Played last night and the night before and the night, and then hopefully I get a week break.
Where were you at last night?
The Griffin House. Well, at first I played Pat Mason from the Crimson House, put a real nice like singer-songwriter thing. There's 5 or 6 of us that did like originals there while the block art was going on.
Nice.
And then I went over to the Griffin House later on that night and I played there from 9 to 11 or 9 to 12. And then everybody there all went to see Tom and Steve from the Boys Upstairs at Woody's, and I sang a couple songs with them last night.
Yeah. Woody's is a good time. I love going there.
Yep.
That's there's never a dull moment when you go to Woody's, especially if the boys are playing. So that's kind of how we met, was through the boys. Obviously, during the Bangin Beers episode with the Boys Upstairs, we talked about how I like pretty much lived with Steve for almost 2 years because I was with them every weekend, and Dave. But yeah, I met you at the Greystone.
Yeah, that's the first time I met Steve and Frank and you. And I already knew Tom 2 weeks previous to that from him doing an open mic at Rumor. So I kind of met all you guys all at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I kind of joked with you when you first came. I said you dressed like you were going for a job interview.
Well, it was the Greystone. And I was never in there before, and I heard it was a pretty elegant place to eat. So
yeah, I'm the only degenerate who walks in there with comic book T-shirts on, long hair, thrift store clothes, and yeah. It was a fun night. That was a good one. But yeah, that was the first time I met you, and then you were trying to really you were kind of just starting your craft. That year, that Christmas, my wife asked me if I wanted what I wanted for Christmas, and I said, well, I always wanted to learn an instrument like guitar. So she got me an acoustic guitar for Christmas, and I spent hours. I worked 12-hour shifts, and if I was off that day, she was working. I would say I was cleaning the house, but I wasn't cleaning the house. I was just sitting there playing that guitar for hours trying to learn it. I mean, hundreds of hours, thousands of hours, and probably the first
3 months that I started playing. Then I went to Rumors. Well, I went to the Greystone because I seen that Steve and Frank were doing an open mic there. That's when I met you when I came in there.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I was leaving that night, I only knew 2 songs, Black by Pearl Jam and I think Wagon Wheel I learned because that's a pretty easy one to play.
Yeah.
And they played with me and helped me out. And then when I was leaving that night, I stopped in the Rumors to get a 12-pack because I was off the next day for the ride home. And when I went in there, the bartender, there was a big sign there that said Rumors open mic night. So I asked him about it, and he told me there's this guy, Tom Zalega, who runs an open mic every Thursday there that I should stop down. So I did. And then when I first started going there was only 5 people, handful of people that would come in. So we got to just spend hours there just playing music together. I got to learn, he got to teach me how to strum like his style. Like if you ever listen to Steve and Tom and myself, we could get together and not even practice, and our styles are pretty close because that's basically my music with.
Yeah.
So then I started going to his open mic nights, and then he started seeing something in my voice. You know, he liked the way it sounded. So I told him I said, I booked a gig at Lazarchik's. I said, he said, you did what? You're only playing for like 3 months. I said, come on, you need to play with me. I said, I really don't know what I'm doing.
I actually remember that.
I need you to come out. And he's like, I ain't doing it. He's like, you're on your own. He said, after 3 months, he was like, that's crazy. So I go and I play there. And there was a door. It was a cover, $3 cover. And
So it was real quick, just to get people on the same mental capacity of why we're laughing. So Lazarchik's was a, we'll say a hip hop rap bar. It was, it had a more of an urban crowd, we'll say. At one point it did. So, yeah, and you do a lot of 90s, some country.
Yeah, a little bit of rap covers, but not many.
Yeah,
too.
Yeah. So it was, you were definitely playing to a crowd that normally isn't what you were going into.
Right. Yeah.
And I do remember this night because Steve said he went in to see you that night.
Yeah.
And
oh yeah, they all showed up for support.
Yeah. And Steve was like, it was we had a blast.
Yeah. So at the end of the night, when they gave me my money, the lady that runs the place, she gave me $300. I was like, what's this? And she's like, there was 101 people in here. This is what you made for the night. I was like, you're kidding me. I thought I was terrible. I'm like, all right. So then I went back. I told Tom this, and Tom's like, well, when do you want to play again next? Because I told him I made $300, and then we started doing.
You earned your stripes.
A little bit. And then just started going from there. And then we started playing out and went from there.
Yeah. That is a very interesting thing too, that I think that definitely needs to be showcased. And while I bring, give yourself a little pour here. This is the Zombie Dust from Three Floyds.
By the way, I like this glass.
That's the Brewfest. Brewfest. Yeah. You actually played a Brewfest.
Yes, I did with Tom.
Yep.
And at the time, they call him Flounder, Mike Purcell from the band SOH and Can Fish. He drummed with us, so we had a whole three-piece set going on there.
Mm-hmm.
We played for I don't know, maybe an hour or two, and then Jeremiah Tall, who's amazing. If you never heard of him, he closed the night.
He'll be there this year. But yeah, so. So yes. So how old are you?
I will be 40 in July. Yeah.
So, and you started what, 2 years ago?
Well, playing out like 3 or 4 years ago, but playing guitar about 5.
Yeah. So this is like a lot of people say, an old dog can't learn new tricks, or I'm too old to pick. Like I always say it too. Like I would love to play guitar, but I just don't have the time to do it. And that's what it comes down to. You can legit at any point in your life pick something up and start a new hobby. I'm 32 and I literally started a podcast in November. 0 experience. I still don't even know how to use my board. I'm learning technical stuff every day when it comes to that. So I that is something I've always admired about you, and I thought that was a really cool thing you did, because you kind of you had friends who were music. Like for me, Steve, Frank, Tom, Bishop, like some amazing guitar players, and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna be that asshole who's gonna try to learn now. You know what I mean? Like, and then you're like, they're like shredding it, and you're like, ping.
Yeah,
ping.
that's how I was. Yeah. Even now, Tom's like, hey, play a lead on this one. I just pretend like I don't even know how to play leads. I just like pretend that I'm doing it.
Mm-hmm. And so that's a cool thing that I always admired about you, and I thought that was really cool that you started very, very late in life, and you're like, hey, you said, like, I just bought an acoustic guitar. I got one for Christmas, and I sat down and I put my hours in. I always can't stress that enough. If there's anything that you want to be good at, they say that it books everything. Everything always says, you're not a master of your craft until you hit 10,000 hours.
Yep.
Or I believe it's 10,000.
Yep.
So they always say the 10,000 hour rule, 10,000 hour rule.
Or like about 5 years.
Yeah.
It comes out.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So they always say like once you've hit your 10,000 hours, obviously don't get stagnant, but that's when you can honestly say that you've mastered your craft, and then you can then take the next step. But no one's ever gonna pick something up or start doing something right away and be amazing at it. You're gonna have your rocky points. Like,
oh yeah,
you're gonna have
I have them.
Yeah, you're gonna have your nights where you're dog shit, and you're gonna have your nights where you're like, oh, I feel really good about that night. You know what I mean? So it's really cool that you started so late and you're still doing it. And like you said, like your first gig, you made a pretty penny. And
yeah, and I went from there. And also too, to add to that, like, I don't know how other people feel, but to me, I could go to a bar and play for 3 hours, and I play covers that people like, they want to hear, they're having a good time. And there could be 100 people there or 50 people there. And at that night, I still think I could have done better. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
I never walk into a place with my head, this big, thinking I'm some musician that I should be on TV or something. I can.
You're very humble dude.
Because I think once you get to that point, why keep doing it?
Yep.
Mhm.
No, you always came off as you're a very humble dude, and your wife also is a musician.
Yes, I didn't know that until I started playing. Then I found out she was a drummer, and so we went and got her a cajon, and then she used to come out and play around with me and Tom, fool around a little bit. We were called the Wood Chips there for a while.
Mm-hmm. Which was a huge missed opportunity in my point. All right, so he's Jerry, and he's playing with Tom, and they call themselves the Wood Chips.
I don't know why we never went with the Tom and Jerry show off the start. Now we do call each show Tom and Jerry show.
The irony of it all, man.
Like, first time I seen them, like, you guys are playing together? Like, yeah. Like, what do you call it? Like the Wood Chips. I'm like, why? Why would you do that?
Thinking what?
Like, you could literally have T-shirts. You should still make them where it's you and Tom as like cartoon characters inside the circle in like the Tom and Jerry show.
Yeah, and have it like the face, like Tom's actual head, and then like your body, like.
It would be amazing.
We actually seen a T-shirt that we were thinking about getting, kind of similar to that, and it was Tom Petty. It's like a cartoon head, and Jerry Garcia, and it was the Tom and Jerry show. And we were thinking about doing kind of like that.
I'll tell you what. I'm actually interviewing a girl locally, but there's a lot of people in our area who are very, very talented artists. I'm sure if you commission them and say, hey, can you draw a logo for us, like, and have like a spin-off of that or Tom and Jerry, they would 100% do it.
Great.
Yeah. The one girl I'm interviewing, I just kind of booked her where I'm looking at my book as soon as the show's over and messaging her with dates. Haley Stokes. She's actually starting a comic book, and she does all the artwork for Look Alive.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you looked at the picture Look Alive and they all look like cartoon characters or like the eyeballs, like she drew those. She's awesome. Super, super talented. So maybe even reach out to her. That'd be a cool T-shirt idea, like the Tom and Jerry. That'd be funny. But yeah, so you started doing some music, and what are some of, like, obviously you said the two first songs to learn how to do. When did you start opening up and doing certain type of thing, like more music?
So when I first started out, I used to have a book. It was like this big. I'd have like a music stand. Pages would be falling all over the place because I could never remember the chords or nothing like that. But now I have a little tablet. And believe it or not, once you learn how to play guitar, most of your songs are only 3 or 4 chords.
Especially if you're doing acoustically. Yeah. You just got to stay in range.
Yeah.
Yep.
So then once I learned the chords, then I did a couple gigs by myself and then with Tom. And it was great playing with Tom because I could turn my guitar down and just strum the heck out of it, even if it sounded terrible. His guitar is always overpowering, so he would always be the guitar player, basically. And then I learned bar chords. And once I learned bar chords, then guitar opens up like crazy. You can be playing, I can be playing with Steve or Tom. He's playing down low on the neck, and I can play up high different chords, and it gives the whole song just different sounds. And
one of my favorite things about Tom is he covers songs that no one else plays.
Oh yeah, Tom is great for that. And Tom Waits, all stuff. He brought me into music I never even knew I would like.
Yeah, I always thought, like, with Bill Waters, like, there were songs I liked by him, and then I heard Tom do "Use Me," and I was like, that song is awesome. And then you actually hear it, and you're like, he does great justice to that cover.
Oh yeah, I think that song.
Oh, Bill Withers, Bill Waters, and then Chocolate Jesus.
So Bill Withers, "Use Me," then he does "Chocolate Jesus." Was that a Tom Waits song?
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah.
But if you ever heard him do a song called "Out in the Weekend" by one of my favorite performers, Neil Young, those 3 songs, I could honestly say, I think it might even be better than the original.
Locomotive Breath.
Oh, yeah, he does that one.
He does that one. That's my favorite. That's one of my favorite songs. He does a great cover of that. And his original, Maker's Mark,
one of the best I've ever heard.
Awesome. That's that needs to get recorded. Yep. That's a good song.
But he used to make me laugh because when I first started playing with him, I was just a big guy up there, all nervous, and I wouldn't move or nothing. I'd just be like, and he'd always be like, "Get some goddamn soul in your, your strong. Like get in, get into it." And then stuff opened up from there. Yeah. Then I started feeling the music more than just kind of going through the motions.
Mm-hmm. All right. So we just had our first Zombie Dust.
So let me talk a little bit about that.
Who wants the last bit? You want the last little pop?
Okay. So Zombie Dust. Now this is from 3 Floyds from Munster, Indiana.
Munster.
Munster,
yeah. They have a Munster.
Spell like the Munster cheese.
They have a Munster. They have a Munster on the bottle.
So this is a brewery that has been around for a little while. They do other pale ales like Zombie Dust, and there's Gumball Head, and there's like a couple other ones then too. They don't really get out to distribution around our area. Some people actually went to Indiana at one point before the whole beer running thing with microbrews. Would bring this stuff around, and this has actually gotten consistent reviews across the board ever since it first came out. So like if you wanted something like a good America pale ale, this is going to be like a good starter, or like this is like the granddaddy of them all. 6.2, definitely a nice crisp pale ale. I like it.
I thought it was very good. Yeah.
It's only been about roughly a month old, but that's not terrible for something like this. Now, like there's some beer that we always like talk about, Jer, that you have to drink right away. We age our stuff then too sometimes as
You're good. Just keep talking.
But yeah, what we try and do is depending on what the brew actually is, we try and do that as fresh as possible. Sometimes, other times we let them sit and see like what other flavors come out into play. So like the Hudson Valley we're going to have next, that has been around since, let's see here, so January 16th. So it's been a little bit over 3 months or so, but that's going to be pretty interesting. Content. That's a 6.
That's a 6. Yeah, 6.2. I don't know if you have Untapped. Do you have Untapped?
No,
the like beer review app. Yeah, I was gonna say if you did, we'd plug.
I'll have to look it up.
Yeah. So I gave that a 4. What did I give it? Oh no, I lost it. I think I gave it a 4.25.
Okay.
I really enjoy that. That's an all day beer.
Mm-hmm.
I could do that all day long. It sounds weird. I don't know how to describe it. It was very smooth. It did have the good hop to it. Obviously, I'm not a big I'm a beer connoisseur and I know all the terms, but it kind of has a taste of what it's called as well, like that Zombie Dust. It kind of has that murky, gritty taste to it too, but it's still smooth and very, very delicious beer. I liked it a lot.
It didn't have that. Some hoppy beers, you get that taste like that just hangs around the back of your throat for a while. I don't taste that with this.
Yeah, no, that's a smooth. I like that a lot. Now it's up to you. We normally don't. If you want to rinse your glass, it's completely up to you.
I'm fine.
The only time we'll do a rinse really is if we have like a really thick dark porter. And then we'll do a rinse, but with this other stuff, it's fine.
Sometimes even some of the sours, they have a little bit of the fruit in them. They like leave a little bit of a layer of fruit.
Oh, okay.
When they do them, so I had one. It was blackberry cranberry dream by Burley Oak, and man, was that thick! It was just like it was kind of like a little bit like a puree, an alcoholic puree. It was pretty good.
Yeah, that's a good beer. I'm a fan of that. All right. And down it goes. We're gonna do the glycerin. So it's already playing in my head. I'll let you do the first pour of that. That's a sour. Now this is a sour. This is a blackberry peach.
This is probably gonna be my favorite because I am a blackberry connoisseur.
Yeah, that's a nice color.
I had this, I think a little bit of it, and I'm like, oh, I definitely got to get a can for the show.
Why is it having?
Man, it smells good too before I even tasted it.
There's like a weird odor going on during the stream. See, it's like faded. I don't understand why it's doing that. It's bothering me. I don't know. I'm not worried about it.
Wow, that does smell phenomenal. Yeah. That's like fruit juice. It smells like.
Oh, that's good. Oh, that's a little weird though. A little weird taste.
That I told you the sour initially hit you.
Yeah.
All right. Here we go. All right, so
this is the favorite part of the show when we see Tony make funny faces.
Yes.
Yeah, this is. Wait till I get to the stout, because if it tastes like coffee, I'm gonna lose my mind.
Ooh, that's sharp. Wow.
It still squinted me.
Yeah. You're gonna hear us speak for a little while.
But that was good. That's good. So here's my thing. I'm not a sour guy. Actually, let me rephrase that. I do enjoy sours. I always say though, if they can make that beer without the tart in the beginning and you just get that aftertaste, it would be the greatest. I would probably be an alcoholic.
So
worse than maybe that I already am. No. Go ahead.
I don't know how hard it is to get locally because I've never had it locally, but a lot of my buddies when I was younger went to school at Penn State main campus.
Mm-hmm.
There used to be this bar up there called the Brewery. I don't know if anybody was ever in there, but it was kind of like a hippie bar.
Yeah.
And they used to have this beer by, I think it was called Lindemans or something. It was Holland. And when it came out, you could buy it in cans too, but they had it on tap. It would look like a strawberry milkshake. And that's how it tasted. And you guys would definitely love, if you could get your hands on one just to try, you would love that beer.
Lindemans. No.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that one, but so that, like I said, sours, the initial hit always gets me, and I pucker up and I make weird faces. But like I said, sours have the most amazing aftertaste of any beer you'll ever have. Like after the sour goes away, that blackberry and peach is delicious.
It's almost like wine.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, though it has like a wine taste to it. Now, what was your introduction? Actually, this is a good question for all of us. I don't even know this about you. What was your first introduction to craft beer? Like now, without saying Yingling, because that's all of our introductions to beer. Because we're literally, if people who don't know, we are a stone throw away from the main brewery and where it was created. Mm-hmm. Love Yingling. I was actually just there the other day. They had a $2 draft thing going on.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, really, really fun stuff. The cool thing is when you go to the brewery, unless you go somewhere that has both porter and Chesterfield on tap, it's the only place you can get the actual black and tan, the original black and tan, which is my absolute favorite. We're actually gonna do an all Yingling episode soon.
Oh, that'd be nice. Yeah.
We're gonna get all the Yinglings and we're gonna do a full Yingling episode. We'll probably get more people for that because I want more. Like sometimes I like bringing back guests and having a big one. But we're definitely gonna do that. But so what was your introduction to craft beer? Like, what was your first beer you had that you're like, this is craft beer?
So craft beer wise, I guess it would be with my sister lives in Linglestown. She moved there with her husband, I don't know, 5-6 years ago, maybe longer, I don't know. But if you go down that area, there are microbreweries. Like you have Lancaster, you have Trogs now. Mm-hmm. Trying to think of the other one, Stony Creek. I don't know if you're ever there. That is an awesome place to eat. You're right off the Susquehanna River. They got like the paddle boat thing going, like for the water. And they have all. So she used to take me for my birthday. The first place she ever took me was Appalachian Brewing Company, which I thought was pretty cool because last year this past winter when I played Gettysburg, I got to play the Appalachian Brewing Company. So I thought that was pretty cool. It was the first craft beer I ever had that I actually got to play at their place. So that's how I got introduced to them. And then I would go to eat to all these places with my sister and my dad, and I would buy the samplers because I wanted to try as many as I could. Then you don't realize some of those flights, like the samplers, you don't realize 8-10 ounce glasses that are 15% beer, they get you drunk quick.
Smushed.
Always have a driver when you go out to a place like that. But that's how I got into craft beer. And I was never a fan up until recently of the real hoppy beers. I was more of a dark, like a Guinness, like a dark beer guy. Mm-hmm. But now, I don't know if my taste buds have changed or what, but I've been enjoying the hoppier beers now.
My first ever craft beer, I remember I went with a couple friends to Trippin' Billy's, which is kind of reason why it kind of came up because I was kind of reminiscent of some. I didn't have many Trippin' Billy experiences, but the ones I have, I didn't really have a bad experience. I thought the people who hang out and go there are awesome.
Oh yeah,
and the music scene there is always pretty cool. So my first craft beer, I believe it was my friend Ashley, and we went there and she's like, oh, there's a beer on tap, and it had like flowers and stuff on it all over it. I don't remember the brewery. I don't remember what the beer was, but it was like like the floral hoppy where it kind of tastes like you're like there's that style.
It might sound like Flower Power by Ithaca Brewing Company.
It might have been. it literally, now I've never had a hoppy beer. I've never had a craft. So my first two introductions to craft beer were not good.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of craft beer when I first started drinking.
Yeah. So I remember my first one I had was it was the flower one. It had flowers all over the can. And when I walked a trip and I was like, oh, this is like a hippie bar. You know what I mean? And then a flower beer. And I drank it and I was like, I feel like I'm chewing on a field. Maybe the can at the flowers and just the style, but it was very florally.
You're like a goat drinking beer.
Yeah, it was like I was chewing on grass, and I was like, "This is fucking gross," and I got rid of it. I actually just had another beer at Trippin, very similar to that, where it had more of a floral taste, but the title was Tropic, like a tropical beer, which is a huge letdown to me because the brewery that made it is my favorite brewery. It's Flying Dog.
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't like the beer though?
I was not. I had one, and I was like, I don't think I would get a second. It was Raging Bitch, but it was Tropical Bitch, but it didn't have, to me, a tropical. Now, when it was poured to me, Courtney Smith, who works there, did the exact perfect thing that she should have did. She got the bottle, she popped it, and she was about to pour it into a glass. But I'm walking around Trippin, it's packed. Japan's form playing. I wanted to stand up next to the stage. I didn't want a full glass, and I didn't want to break anything or make a mess. So I just said, keep it in the bottle. So it could have been my fault too, because I didn't let it breathe. Mm-hmm. But I didn't get the tropical taste. I got more of the floral. But yeah, so my second experience was the one we talked about with my dad. We went to a Hershey Bears game, and his buddy is up in the press box, and he yells down, like he's like, text my dad, like, look up behind you. And we see his buddy, and he goes, hey, come on up to the VIP box.
Oh, nice.
And my dad's like, come on, you're 21. And I'm like, what about Austin and Marcus? He's like, they're old enough. They'll be fine. They're sitting right here. So we're like, we'll be right back. We'll just hang out here. If you need us, just turn up and look. We're right there. And my dad's like, I will be standing right there. And he goes, okay. So we go up, and my dad's standing over the ledge, like looking at them and talking and socializing. And he's drinking a Trogs. And it was like a blueberry beer. I don't remember. But once again, I'm not a craft beer drinker. So I walk over to the fridge of all you can drink, and I get Yingling. I get a Yingling, and I'm standing over there, and I walk up to my dad, and I'm drinking. And my dad's talking to an elderly gentleman in the next suite next to him. And the guy goes, you're drinking a Yingling? And I was like, yeah, hometown beer. I like it. And he goes, did you ever try what your dad's drinking? And I was like, what is it? He goes, that's Trogs. It's our blueberry, whatever. Now, this is years ago. Like, I'm fresh 21, 22. Maybe a little even. I'm not sure. So I take a drink of it, and once again, I got the hoppy, floral, got no blueberry. And I was like, oh, that's fucking terrible. And my dad just looks at me like, you're a fucking piece of shit. And the guy goes, you don't like it? And I was like, no, that's not good at all. And he goes, well, hi, I'm such and such, VIP of Trogs Brew.
Oh,
I was next to the Trogs VIP box at the Hershey Bears game.
Hey, you're honest, though.
Yeah. And I was like, and he's like, well, I'm like, well, your beer needs work. Like, I didn't get any blueberries.
Yeah, he should know that. If I was him, I would want to know that if people didn't like what I was putting out there for people to drink.
And then I became more of a craft beer fan, and Trogs is one of my favorite breweries. So I've hopefully have redeemed myself, but that was my first two experiences in craft
Crimson
beer.
Pistol. I don't know if you ever had that one. That's probably my favorite Trogs beer.
Yeah, I forget what did the one have that Dave brought just recently.
I don't know. It's the one that I like. It's like a reddish tint.
The Crimson's good. The Perpetual Ale is good. Oh, yeah. First Cut is good. The other one, I forget what kind it was. He left the bottle up there, but I threw it away. Oh man. Well, we're looking for Lollihop. So if you see Lollihops,
I'll get you one. I have that. I have to give it for one of your episodes too. I told you I picked up that bottle from that place I was in at Easton. It's I can't even remember the name of the microbrewery it was, but I thought it was pretty good actually. It's strong too, so it's like I think almost 20%. So be careful. But it's a 22-ounce bottle. Yeah,
nice. What? That'll be a nice donation. I'll appreciate that, and we'll have you back, and you can drink it with us.
Oh, well, yeah, sure.
Yeah. So, what was your experience in craft beer, Ben?
Well,
while we finish up and we'll go to the victory while you're talking. So,
when was it? It might have been a little bit in college when I was still underage. Oh no. No, seriously though, it might have been at 21 where I went to school in State College for the last 2 years of my college stint. Basically, they had a lot of bottle shops, so like literally the world was my oyster with beer. So like that was like maybe like I did like Trogs. I mean, put it this way, like for a 21-year-old that was given a lot of money, I basically like stocked my shelves with all this liquor. So we used to do mixed drinks, but then I had like 4 or 5 domestic or micro brews. So like it would have been like 2 Trogs and then like Yangling something else then too, just for somebody to be like, oh, I don't want to drink that,
right,
and whatever. And then there's a craft beer bar. It's Zeno's. It's a downstairs basement bar in State College. It's on Allen Street. So like where the Allen Street Grill is, the stairs that go down,
okay,
that's where you would go down for that. It's a basement bar. So like at that point, they had this thing called Around the World in 80 Beers.
Mm-hmm.
So you would buy a passport and then you would just, it would be $1 and then you would buy the beer on top of that then too. And then it would mark it down. And then if you hit Around the World in 80 Beers, they get you on a newsletter and email, and then they give you a free t-shirt on top of that then too. And so I kind of explored those options because they usually deal with like Belgiums and all these other ones then too. So they have a wide variety, a lot of bottles, and then like maybe 2 or 3 beers on cask, like 5 or 6 on tap. And then I just kind of like evolved from there. And then when I got to my when I got working at Social Security, basically our one buddy Tyler, he worked with me. He's like, oh, hey, you got Untapped? I'm like, what the fuck is that? And he's just like, oh, well, that's an app where you can log in all your beers. And then there's another girl that was that used to work there, and she was just like, oh, well, do you have Untapped? I'm like, what do you mean? Like, oh, that's to log in your beers. And I'm like, oh, I'm like old school archaic. I'm like, F that. I have this passport. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I have like 81 beers in there. I'm like, I have this. I was going to log them in. And they're like, what are you doing? My buddy was like, what are you doing? I go, I'm logging my beers in because I had these already. He goes, oh no, you got to start from the beginning, right?
Yeah, he told me that too.
And it was that one point where I hit like 3 months and I hit like 400 beer. Like it was like 4 or 5 months I hit like 400 beers, and the one girl got so pissed at me because I caught up to where I'm like, hey, done. I'm like,
yeah. So when I first, I love Tyler. Tyler, this is all for you. So when I first started Untapped, I think Tyler actually got me onto it as well. I was like, all right, well, I'll just type in the beers I've had. And I just kept putting like, my somewhat reviews, which I was completely doing it wrong because, some of the beers may have not been accurate and stuff. So I logged in like 100 and some beers in one night. And Tyler messages me. He's like,
you'd be dead.
Yeah, dickhead, you're pretty drunk tonight. And I was like, what? And he goes, you fucking logged in all these beers on tap. I'm like, that's because I've already had them. He goes, that's not how it works. You have to start from the. He said literally said the same thing. So
I was so pissed when he said that. I'm like, no, why couldn't I start off with the 80 that I had? You know what I mean?
And funny thing is, and he goes, you're not even checking in good beers. Like I was checking in Miller Lite, Keystone, Budweiser, Bud Light,
Best Light.
Yeah, like all of the ones you would get at like on tap at a bar somewhere. He's like, you're not even checking in good craft beers. You're checking in shit domestics.
You're talking about bad beers. So I seen when you did the boys upstairs banging beers, you did
Steel
like
Reserve
and Steel Reserve, which apparently Dave likes and is like a connoisseur of Steel Reserve from what I watched. But
Steel Reserve was gross. That was the worst beer I've ever had in my life.
So when I was growing up, it's still there. We used to be called the Main Street Deli. Now it's called Sub Above. It's like a 6-pack pizza shop, sub shop, and mine as well. So you'd find somebody that was a little older than you, and you give the money to get you like a 40 or something.
We're not condoning any of this.
I didn't say I was underage.
We're just
this is like a back in the day.
We're just telling stories.
Yes. At one time, I wasn't allowed in Sub Above to buy alcohol. Let's just say that. But
okay.
So anyway, so you give somebody some money, and then if you get somebody that was like a jerk or an asshole to you, they'd come out with like 240s of like Black Label. I don't know if you ever had like Black Label or Cobra or Camel, Hurricane.
Hurricane wasn't that bad.
Yeah, I thought. Yeah,
I actually enjoyed Hurricane.
I think my favorite one out of them was Silver Thunder. I don't know if you ever had that one. Yeah.
So a lot of those beers, which is funny, I've never experienced a lot of those beers. So that
haven't either.
So that was the first time. So the high gravity Steel Reserve was
it's bad.
Awful.
That was bad. Yeah,
awful. Like I forced myself to finish it, and Steve just pounded it. I have a hard time chugging, especially like if I can't get it past my nose, I can't get it down my throat, which sounded horrible. That's what she said. So actually Hurricane was decent. Like if I was somewhere and they're like, you want a Hurricane? I probably would drink it if that was all that was available. Colt 45 wasn't terrible.
I like Colt 45. I could drink.
Yeah,
that.
it wasn't bad either. Yeah.
See, I came in with my expectations really, really low.
Of course.
So they were.
If Billy D. Williams or whatever his name is could drink, you ever see those commercials years ago for
Oh my God, yeah.
So that wasn't terrible. There was always a beer I wanted to try though, and I don't think it's made anymore. Just when I used to live in Monty City, we had a neighbor, and he used to, I guess, drink like under his front porch, like in this weird little like room. And he would just leave all of his cases of beers and cans there.
Maybe it was my dad back then.
And it was Red Dog.
Red Dog.
It was a bulldog.
Yeah, they
and
still
it was
make
just,
that.
Do they really?
They still make that.
If you ever find it, get me a can of it, because I remember being.
I think they make it in bottle. I think they make it in bottles and cans.
If you ever find it, get me it, because I've always been a kid like so. I grew up a firefighter kid. My dad's a firefighter, the whole nine. So I just remember growing up, my dad saying like the best truck is a Mack truck, and like the bulldog on the front of the the bulldog on the truck. And then I remember seeing the beer and putting the correlation together: Mack truck, and then this beer which is a bulldog. That's got to be cool. I want to drink a bulldog drink.
Yeah.
And my dad's like, that's fucking beer. Don't ever drink. Like, you know what I mean? So I've never had it, but it was always something that appealed to me. And I'm sure it was super cheap because the type of beers he drank seemed like they were.
Oh yeah, my dad was cheaper. Meisterbrow was like like Budweiser's knockoff or something. It was terrible.
Yeah. So
it may take a little bit of sleuthing, but I think I could find it.
That would be that's like my.
But then he also didn't drink just to drink too. He was drinking. I mean, he drank 2 cases of beer back. He don't drink anymore at all. But back then, he drank 2 cases of beer in a day. You know, he wasn't drinking for socializing. Let's put it that way.
You ever see the video? I don't know if I seen it on YouTube or Facebook or something, and it says Uncle Gary's sick of your shit. I don't know if you ever seen it, but it's these kids and they're drinking with their Uncle Gary, and they're playing you put the cup on each side of the table and you have the can and you have to hit it with the ping pong ball.
Oh, they like and the beer pong, yeah.
It's like, but you have to knock it off.
Oh, okay.
And you have to keep playing until I don't know the rules. But I guess this Uncle Gary just got tired of it. He goes, I'm fucking sick of this shit. He goes, I work too fucking hard all week. I'm gonna get my 30-pack. I'm gonna go in the basement and I'm gonna drink it. I'm not playing these fucking games with balls and cups like you fucking losers. When I get beer, I just want to fucking drink it. I don't want to play those stupid games. But he just like chews them out. You can get more in there.
I got to.
So you can pour more. We all got a pretty decent pour.
Okay. This Victory here has me scared to drink. So I have a story about Victory. The one time at Woody's, I say Woody's in Pottsville, but Woody's in Minersville isn't open anymore, so I could just say Woody's.
What happened already?
Yeah, it's closed down. It's going to be no. Don't get me wrong, because I may be saying I'm only going through what I heard through the grapevine. I'm told it might be a barbecue place or something like that going in there now, but still sell alcohol.
Okay.
But it'd be like a barbecue shop.
Okay, I thought it was your drink. No, actually, I had really high hopes for that because they had a lot of tap systems.
It was a good place.
And they're like, I thought that was going to be one of the first places we can go and get like good craft beer on tap.
Yeah, they're having a lot of live entertainment there too.
Yeah.
And where is this?
It used to be the Wooden Keg in Minersville.
Mm-hmm.
Then it went to, it used to be Johnny's before that.
Mm-hmm.
And then way before that, it was, if I'm going to go back in time, it was Jake's. And then after that, it was.
I don't know how true it is, but I heard way back in the day, one of Poison's, Brett Reichels, one of Poison's first shows they played was at that bar in Minersville.
Could have been, yeah. At one time in Minersville, there was a bar on every corner and a church right next to it. You know,
originally, isn't Poison from like the Harrisburg?
He's from around here somewhere.
Yeah, he's not obviously a Skook, but he's from the Pennsylvania area. And supposedly one of their first shows was in Minersville. I don't know how true that is.
If it wasn't there, it might have been right down the street. Tell-Ups was the place.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I was at Woody's in Pottsville with Craig Darker, and he's like, "You got to get a Dirt Wolf." I'm like, "What's a Dirt Wolf?" He's like, "It's Victory makes it. I love it." And we were drinking Miller Lite the whole night. I had one of them Dirt Wolves, and I had to call my dad for a ride home. It just planted me. I don't know why, but I don't know how strong it is or what, but. Platinum. One of the few times I've actually fell asleep sitting at a bar stool.
Wow.
Wow.
So the next 2 beers are we've got them from my favorite place, the Cake Stand in Monty City. Love that place to death. every time they get new beers in, they always send me a message like, "Hey, got these in, try them out for the show." So they're really, really cool.
Where is that? Is that right in the main drag?
Right on the main drag. If you're coming from the Shenandoah Fractal and you're driving through, where M&T Bank is in the corner.
Yeah.
So like 3 buildings from there.
Were they always there? Or is that newer?
It's kind of newer, but I mean their craft selection is nice.
Yeah.
They have cold or they have warm.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for a certain, and they have like variety bottle packs. They have nice cans.
And you were saying about a place where you can get a good craft beer. We don't really have a place around here that you could go and do that kind of really.
We do. So like we actually had we talked a little bit this on an episode. Like Monte City, we'll just break it down like by a few different towns. So Monte City, if you want to buy craft beer and get some decent craft beer like to purchase, the Keg Stand is there's no competition.
Okay.
If you want some craft beer on tap, now it's not a huge selection, but every now and then they have about 3 or 4 on tap. Is McNiff's in Monte City.
I've done open mics there. My aunt Rita used to be a teacher at Monte Area School District for years. Was Williams. She married Holman, Champ Holman.
Oh yeah,
she was the English teacher there in high school for years. Well, that's my dad's
Mrs.
oldest
Holman.
sister. Yeah,
she passed away.
Yes, she might be going on 10 years now.
She was honestly one of my favorite teachers I've ever had.
Yeah, so Jess and Dave, they're my first cousins.
Yeah, Miss Holman was amazing. She was a sweetheart. Yeah, when she passed away, that bummed me out. She was really good people.
So they have like a charity for her through Fox Chase for research, and then some of it goes to that, and then some goes to the school for like a college scholarship. If somebody wins it with their grades.
He did it every year.
Yeah, every year. Yeah.
Like, do they have like a benefit or something?
She has multiple.
I know she has a tuition.
She has the golf tournament at Mountain Valley. They do once a year in the summer, usually August, and then in the winter they were doing an open mic at McNiff's. And then McNiff's would donate so much. You pay to cover to get in. Like me, Tom, people would come and play. People that just wanted to play.
When that comes up again, let me know. I want to promote.
And then they used to do they would give like whatever the total beer sale or alcohol sale was, they would give a percentage of that then to the charity.
That's awesome.
McNiff's would do that.
I love McNiff's. That's a really good. They have amazing food. Their food is so good. The lady who cooks the food at McNiff's, she used to cook for Pick a Pack in Monte City. Now, Pick a Pack didn't give her much to work with, but what she had to work with, she made some of the best fucking food in Monte City, and now she cooks at McNiff's, and it's amazing. Like McNiff's is like definitely something I always like. Monte City has 2 bars, like McNiff's and the Red Zone, like food wise.
The Red Zone used to be the Silver Spoon or something. Okay, I was in there a couple times.
Bobby's getting better with his craft beer. He's slowly introducing it, but his demographic is more like they like their tap domestics. So it's tough for the craft beer scene in there.
I would also say that Romans and Fractal.
Oh yeah,
they have a good bottle selection.
They had a good bottle selection, but like if it's certain stuff, you better get it quick before it goes, because they actually had New Belgium's Emperor in bottles. It got wiped out within like it was.
And if you're looking for good seasonals too, 9 times out of 10 Romans will have it on tap. So if you're looking for Sam Adams or Yingling Oktoberfest, they usually have that on tap.
Yeah, I like going there.
Romans and Fractals is good. The court store.
The court store, yeah.
They have some decent craft beer.
And you can even buy a bottle
like a mix of 6
there then too, and then you can go mix of 6. And
I think the craft house by Palermo's there is doing that now too.
Awesome.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, they're really, really good. They have a big selection.
And if you don't mind going a little bit further out of the way, and actually was looking it over, apparently Windsor Beer Distributor actually has the Lolly Hop.
Really?
Apparently, yeah.
Where's that?
That's in Hamburg. So like when you're going on 61, you're going like go towards Hamburg. Like we're going to go to.
I wish I wasn't broke right now. We'd be driving right after the show.
You'd shoot. Literally, would go past. What's the gas station?
That new one, Rudders.
Rudders, yeah, right. The Rudders. You go around there, and then you have to make your right and follow it out. It's literally like in that little like area there, and like you have to make like a U-turn. Like
it's before that Kia dealer there.
Yeah, it's like there's like an Amish bakery or something like that. It's literally right there. So.
Yeah,
but they have a good craft selection. If you don't mind driving a little bit further away,
right? School Haven, the place in School Haven before the mall, that's pretty good too. Right by the adult store, on the same side.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what it's called. I know what you mean.
Oh,
yeah, I know what. Yeah,
I don't know the name of it.
The beer and candle place.
Yes. The beer.
Oh, is that good place.
Yeah, they have a whole, like you walk in, they have a bunch in the coolers craft. Then you go in the back corner, they have like a walk-in place, and you can buy a mix of six, or they have a whole bunch, like the whole room dedicated to craft.
I did not know about that.
That's where I got the Metallica beer.
Oh wow! Cool.
Yep, I got the Metallica beer there. Yeah, that's I don't know the name, so if I have to definitely learn that.
Oh, I forget what it is.
It is something in Candle though.
Yeah, it might be beer and candle. You might be right.
It's like one of the two like oddest things that you could pair together: candles and beer.
Yeah.
Like what the hell?
So what do you think of this victory?
Not bad.
So it's not hoppy to me anyway. It's a very good light. All right, so this beer here, the Victory No Brainer, it is a 6.8. So it does have it has something to it. It's now if you're a craft beer drinker, or if you're someone saying, hey, I'm gonna go out to maybe like a campfire for the night, or we're gonna hang outside and sit in the porch and we're gonna have a couple beers. This is your hang out for the night, have a couple beers, or this is like, hey, if I want to introduce people to craft beer, this would be if you know someone who only drinks Miller Lite, Coors Light, Keystone,
it's close to it for
and you want them to try a craft beer, this would be a good beer to do so with.
Mm-hmm.
This is not super hoppy. It's strong. It's a really, really good smooth. If you're a serious diehard, love your hops, the high ABVs, you want very hoppy, you're probably gonna think this is not that good. But I'm kind of trying to think of it as more of a, like I said, sit on the back porch and hanging out, or if you're at a place that has like an outdoor pad, this would be a cool beer to sit outside and have a couple beers with.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I was getting a little bit of a. At first, it was like when we had the other stuff, it was like
a little cross contamination.
Well, not just that, but it smelled a little bit like coffee to me, and I'm like, that's what I was smelling. I'm like, what the hell am I smelling? And then I had a little bit of it, and like kind of looked up the notes, because it's like with oranges and mandarins and too. So, I mean, it's good. I mean, like I'll agree with you, Tony. This is a good like introductory beer if you just want to kind of ease in. Kind of like we kind of go in between like the American Pale Ale and the India Pale Ale, because we have a little bit of transition, like the difference between both of them, which is pretty cool. So two different bottles, two totally different styles. You know what I mean?
I like the Pale Ale. Cool. I'm more of a Pale Ale guy.
Yeah, I'm Pale Ale. Yep.
Yeah.
So,
but they're very good beer. This is an all day beer to me.
So, I highly agree.
I don't know if I ever had an American Pale Ale. To be honest with you, I don't know if
well, that's the India Pale Ale, the zombie dust.
Oh, that was American. Okay.
Yeah, mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's just the Pale Ale, and then the Indian Pale Ale. The reason why it's called that, Ben, you have more a little bit knowledge on that.
So, like the India Pale Ales, they're made a lot fresher, and that's where
the history of it. Why it's called they were sending beer to India.
Well, that's what I was getting at. So, like they would ship the beer and the actual hops on, like, because if you see like there's elephants that are carrying packages from there to England.
Okay.
Well, not there to England, but you would see that it's because they wanted to keep the beer as fresh as possible then too. Okay. So that's how they would do it. Like,
so it's a style of beer from had before trains, planes, and automobiles. So they created the style of beer they called it the Indian. That it would just because the way they had to keep it fresh and preserve it, so it went the long distance via boat or camel or elephant or however they had to do it. It would stay fresh, but it had a very hoppy taste. So that recipe is something that's now being reintroduced back into the beer scene. So there's a little bit of a history to it as well. Like even when the beers would go from England to America, they had a certain style because they didn't have coolers or something to keep it cold. Mm-hmm. So they would do different techniques to make it preserve it.
Preservation. Yep. Yeah. So like if you ever see like if you ever go into like a bottle shop and you see like the Krabby's like ginger beer, like they have a little elephant on that. That's exactly
what that is.
That's
I was just drinking that
like the history.
Moscow Mules last night. I was drinking that Krabby's.
All right, so do me a favor, Ben. Can you grab me one of the Natter Days?
Okay.
Natter Days are good.
Only reason I need a Natter Day is we are going to our stout. And I have a hard time with stouts. If you're a fan of the show, you probably hate me when we get to this segment because every time I get a dark beer, I just get coffee. it can tell me it's chocolate and vanilla with hints of caramel.
Oh yeah.
I feel like I'm chewing on Dunkin' Donuts every time.
Did you ever have any of the dark ones with like peanut butter in it or anything?
The peanut butter ones get away with it.
Yeah.
We're not gonna do it, but I'm gonna show a bigGer one that we have in the.
Is it for a future episode?
And for a future episode.
Well, then we'll show them after the cameras go.
Are
off.
you sure? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Fair enough. It's a 15%.
Oh my god.
Ben gets really excited. Like
I like the stronger percent alcohols. They don't taste as good, some of them, but
Put it this way, it has like peanut butter, graham
yeah,
cracker,
like,
all there. There's a little bit of
so this is 11.5.
Oh, that's gonna be a good one.
So I can get under.
I can't wait to see your face.
God damn. I couldn't get my nail underneath it.
Yeah, you wouldn't think that.
All right, so
paint opener would be.
So initial smell, no coffee.
Well, that's good for you.
Wait, what?
No coffee smell.
What? Looks like cold.
And I don't bitch out. Like when I do it, I take at least 2 mouthfuls. Even though even though I hate it, I still do it. There was maybe one I had to put. So you can go heavy with your pours. It's like tar. I'm not a dark beer fan.
I can literally drink anything and everything, to be honest with you.
I smell some coffee, and I have a cold.
Yeah, talk about leaving a mark. That is sharp.
Oh yeah.
Jesus Christ.
All right, so Black Hawk. Before I completely say I hate your beer because it's a some of the darker beers I won't review because I don't want to be a dick and be like 1% because it's probably not a bad beer. It's just not my palate. And when we have guests on, I don't want to just say, "Oh, you're gonna drink all the stuff I like." So I do stuff that I don't like, so everyone else can like. So it's for everybody. The artwork on the can is phenomenal. It's a hand do with the tattoo gun. I love the art. When I buy beer like I'm a little kid buying t-shirts. Before remember when your parents would take you like before school shopping, you can get all new outfits. You're like, look at these. Ninja Turtle shirts and there's a wrestling one. That's how I buy beer sometimes. Like, look at the cool artwork.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. So this one here, when I seen it at the keg stand, I was like, man, that's a really cool artwork. And then my dad bought it because he likes stuff. Porter's like, I got a can for you for the show. So this is my dad's contribute.
Now I like dark beers, but I can't drink. If I go somewhere, I'm like 1 or 2. And then I can't drink. Like I couldn't go out for 3 hours and hang out with you guys and drink Guinness or something all night.
Never.
No way.
To me, I feel
I'd be too bloated or so just fill me right up.
I feel like those beer. That's a good like a darker beer, like a lager. To me, I can maybe see this for stouts and porters. Like if you get like a nice burger or a steak, where you want to take something like. So my problem is I'm starting to slowly get better. Is I drink more liquid than I eat. So if I go to a restaurant and I get like a soda, I'll have like 4 glasses of soda. And then by the time I'm halfway done my meal, I'm like, I can't go anymore. But if you get like I found if I get a beer with a meal, a glass of beer will last me almost my whole meal because you take a bite and then you wash it down with like a sip or 2 of just beer. But the darker the beer without the coffee, it coincides very well with a nice red meat.
It was like a digestive, how they would do it with Jägermeister.
Right.
That's disgusting. I would never.
No, but I'm just saying though, that's how they would usually do it. You would eat your food, and then it was a digestive. You drink a little bit of it, and then it was it helped.
You know what would happen to me if I ate a full meal and then took a shot of Jaeger? I would purge myself, and it would all. I hate that black liquor.
You don't like them?
No.
I can only drink it. I can only drink it with, for some reason, like a Jaeger bomb with Red Bull or.
Yes, when you completely mask the taste.
Yeah.
Yes.
Apparently we're psychopaths, bigGer. So
yeah, if you take Jaeger and you pour enough Red Bull in it, you don't taste Jaeger.
But then a lot of people, I like blackberry brandy. A lot of people hate that too.
But the blackberry brandy, that's like a tribute drink for us.
I don't know how I don't have diabetes yet. I really don't.
That's sugar. People go to like, why do you drink? Like I didn't drink blackberry until I met Steve and Steve and Dave, and then and then I met Jay before he passed away, Jay Bird. But I never hung out with him, and they're like, we drink blackberry for Jay Bird. Like that's like the shot for Jay Bird. So like that's like, all right, well, so it's kind of like a tribute shot. And then at first I didn't like it, and then I was like, now anytime I go out, I'm like, that's all. Like, you want to do a shot? Yeah, get me blackberry, because the other stuff I just can't do it.
Yeah, I like it because it isn't. You can drink more of them before you get drunk. It isn't as strong as like doing a shot of Jameson or something like that.
I can't do shots anymore. When people like shots, I'm like, nope. And all they go, let's go do shots, and I'm like, I can't even do. I
gotta go to the bathroom.
Yeah, Fireball used to be my hiding shot, but I can't even do that anymore. I've had so many shots of it. God. Just even talking about, my mouth is watering.
Fireball and I never get along very well. It's like
gross.
I remember the one time it was on your 30th birthday when it was over at Dave's place.
We drank so much,
dude. Scob drank like, oh my God, he drank like half the bottle. I'm like, man. Well, you know what? I'm gonna try and drink as much as I can. I had like 5 mouthfuls of it, and that was the night where it was like cold. It was snowing.
I'm not looking forward to this.
There was a snowball fight into it, and then somebody decides to put snow on my crotch, and then me thinking, well, you really put, you dick, you
100%
you dick,
he passed out. He passed out on the couch, so I filled his crotch with snow.
Yeah, and you know what I did? I pissed myself
on top
myself up, and I'm like, oh my God, what is it? I pissed myself. I'm like, wow, and I'm like, oh no, I think use these pants too.
He's wearing those piss pants. That was a crazy 30th birthday party. Yeah, that was a very fun party. Everyone got along with each other. There was no nonsense. That was a fun one. I don't get down like that. If people
me neither.
Yeah,
I'll get mad if somebody else is acting like that, but I don't act like that.
Yeah,
I'm a happy drunk.
Yeah, I don't know. I like everyone just getting along and having a good time.
That's why I only hang out with a certain group, because then it's usually going to be a good time.
Yeah. So as we're on our last one here, so what are some things you have planned or some future endeavors?
So today I'm going to travel back down the mountain, and me and Tom and Jerry Shaw are going to play at Lazarchik's from 6 to 10 for Cinco de Mayo. So
where's Lazarchik's at now?
Now this is in Minersville. Actually, the real Lazarchik's in Minersville is the oldest. I think it might be. I'm pretty sure it's the oldest bar in County.
Where Crimson House used to be?
That was Lazarchik's Sports Bar and Grill.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So the Lazarchik's in Minersville that I'm talking about is They call it LZ's.
Okay.
I don't know if you ever heard that.
No.
Very nice place to go to. Down to earth people. A lot of regulars, but very small place. Is
that the one on top of the hill?
Yeah, second to last red light, right on the right of Minersville, going out towards 901.
No, there's one that Tom took me to. You like go up a really steep
that's
hill.
Slapjacks.
Yeah, Slapjacks.
Yes, that's one of my favorite places too. I play there. If you look at the Slapjacks Facebook, me and Tom are the face of the Slapjacks Facebook page for playing. Yeah.
Nice. I like that place. I had a good time when we went there.
That's going to change names soon. From what I hear, though, it's going to be rebought. And I think it's going to be called Reds.
Reds.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a good. There's really not much in Minersville anymore.
Everything's closing down. I mean, even everywhere it's slow. When I go out, it's not like it used to be.
The only thing really is obviously Reds or Slapjacks or whatever you want to call it now. The Drunken Monkey.
That's an Ashland.
Yeah, no, not Drunken Monkey.
The Lame Goose.
The Lame Goose. Yep, I know it was an animal. I knew it was an animal.
That's still going. You got the Washington Hotel. Very good food too. It's more like
that's next to where the
Curran used to be, right across the street. Yeah. That's more of like a dinner.
I don't want to. I'm avoiding it so bad.
That's more of like a dinner.
Pinch your nose.
Sit at the bar after dinner crowd. It ain't like you're going there. Oh, rowdy.
You weren't that bad with it. Sorry.
Good. Then you have the Miners Tavern. I don't know if you're ever in there. Closer to the end of town.
No.
Going back out of town, like down towards Pottsville.
The guy who makes my shirts is from Minersville. So I drive through Minersville a lot to pick up my stuff. Yeah. But I said, the Kern, that's all yours.
Oh, dude. No.
It's too much. It's out of control.
I actually like this, to be honest. When I download that app, now is it okay because I had the beers today? I could review these beers.
You're not going to get picked on like we did.
Yeah,
you're not getting picked on.
I don't make the rules. You can do what you want.
So put it this way. Here's how I look at it. If you had them the same day or like the next day, you're like, oh shit, I forgot about that one, and you're like, you're gonna log it in. You know what I mean?
Like to me, when I go to a
lot of the times, my one buddy actually takes pictures of everything and he'll enjoy everything, and then he'll go down the line. But I'm like the kind of guy like, all right, I have it here. I'll fucking do it right now because I'll forget what it tastes like. So for me, when I'm trying so hard to change my way of thinking, because what annoys me is when people go out to a show and they
are on their phone the whole time.
Oh, anywhere.
Yeah. So I made like for our Facebook page. So if I come see your band, don't make fun of me because you're like, oh, I thought you were going to be on your phone the fucking show.
Well, you have a reason to.
Yeah, I'm taking some photos and videos to say I'm here and to say, hey, you guys missed a good time. You should go support this next time. So for the most part, I try not, unless I get like a message from someone like, hey, can we book a show? That's the only time I really go on my phone. But like Brewfest or like concerts or anything like that, if I have a beer and I like it, there's a lot of times where I'll do this like with the guys to take a picture of it and then check it in later.
Right.
Because I don't want to just be like if you do a brew fest and you walk from stand to stand to stand to stand to stand, and the brew fest is you only get like an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Right.
And every 30 seconds you stop and you're like 4.5, take a picture. I like this. Just takes too long.
I am his way of thinking. So I've been to Bangin Beers Fest. I go to a lot down in Atlantic City with a couple of my buddies.
Yeah.
And they still give you the passport. I think that is, and then somebody they just stamp it. As soon as you go there, you try one, or say each stand has 3 beers.
Mm-hmm.
They stamp, so you know which one I think that's way better than trying to log it in your phone. But
yeah.
Then you have a reminiscing, like a souvenir kind of type thing too.
I still have mine too, and I actually want to go to back to State College to even fill it up even more. And there was like one guy who was like maybe in his 50s when I was like in my mid 20s.
He was wearing like 5 of them, ain't he?
Dude, he was like, oh, he filled up 4 of them. I'm like, holy fuck, how many times have you been here, guy? Like, did you he went like up and down the flagpole like four or 5 times. I'm like, Jesus.
There's a place in Shenandoah. Sorry, I said this in the sport. There's a place in Shenandoah that if you have to do so many a beer of the month, or you have to do so many. We talked about the one episode, but I forget now. But you have to go to this place, and you have to log in so many beers in a certain amount of time that you have to buy them there.
I wonder if it's Who's Place. There ain't too many bars.
I think it is. I think
that's a good place to go if you're ever there.
I think you go on Who's Place. You get put in the book, and then you have to check in so many beers by a certain time.
Okay.
You have to buy them there, and then once you go through the list of beers, they give you a jacket.
Oh, that's nice. At least they give you something for your
that's interesting.
for your liver aches. You know?
So that might be a thing. We might get a couple. I might start going there and getting some to go, and then we could have like an episode like Quest to the Jacket. That'd be fun. That'd be fun.
That'd be fair enough.
Yeah. But So, what time is your event tonight?
Oh, not till 6 o'clock.
Oh, okay. I don't want to keep you.
No, you're good.
All right.
So let's just go down a little bit down the beer line. So we'll just go with thumbs up, thumbs down, or like eh. So we'll go with Zombie Dust. So
I liked it. Yeah,
we're gonna go with that.
Yeah, I like it. I'll give it a thumbs up. Yep.
Thumbs up. What about Tony? You're agreeing?
Yeah, thumbs up. Yep.
So the Glycerin, that's their second version of the Glycerin series.
There's still more in that.
They did a boysenberry. They did a double boysenberry and a red currant and pink guava version of that. I still have a few cans of that left.
So the guava is what I was telling you I was drinking last night. It's not a crafter, but Corona makes it.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of the flavors, and it kind of tasted like this a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. The Glycerin series, they brought it back again, and I'm like, when I traded for it, I saw something. I'm like double blackberry peach. I'm like, I saw him with peach, and I'm like,
I like peach flavors.
I'm gonna hit. It's gonna be a hit out of the park, and then like what you mentioned, blackberry, and I kind of even integrated the blackberry into that. I was just like, you know what? Why not? And I like that one too. That was a pretty tasty one.
I mean, for me, I thought it was a good lineup. I thought every one of them were good.
This was a good drinker, solid lineup. Yeah.
To me, this would be a great beer if you're outside at a deck, listen to some music, or you're at a pool.
Mm-hmm.
Or I would definitely go with something like that.
I got the pineapple mango version of that.
Yeah.
In the fridge then too, so
Mm-hmm.
that'll show up in a future
episode. And just going back to the Black Hog, because they have liked our stuff in the past when we post it. I just don't. I have a hard time with darker beers for some reason. To me, it's just coffee. Every single time, coffee, and I don't like the taste of coffee.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sure if you're a stout fan, they enjoyed it.
These two are probably my favorite. To be honest with you,
mm-hmm.
I thought that was really smooth for a door. I thought it was smoother than Guinness. I really did.
Yeah, I agree with you on that, bigGer. You don't mind me calling you bigGer.
No, that's what everybody calls me.
Our Jerry.
If I keep going to this gym, I might be calling me Little Jer. So bigGer still for right now. But
Jack Jer. Yeah. But you have to spell it with a G still.
But seriously though, this had a little bit more bark than bite with this. Leaves a mark for me at least. And I'm like, wow, this really smells like it's a punch of alcohol in your face. But then when you have it, it's a totally different beast on its own. It's just like, okay, well, you know what? You came back to me, or you came to me. You know what? I'll give you a little bit of a nice, tasty treat. So.
Right.
But I'm not even checking in. Leaves a mark because I don't want to be rude and give them a bad review.
So I would say that one's.
I will go on there when I download this and give them a good review for you, just so you know, because I do like it.
And we'll give you our usernames then too. So whatever you're
and let us know. We'll put your username on the page because sometimes people like to follow each other. But yeah, that was a good lineup. I liked it a lot. And like I said, we'll have you back. Anytime you want to come back. How you said you kind of want to do an interview, maybe.
Yeah, so we can get into that a little bit here before we end it. So if anybody wants to hear about me, you can look me up on Facebook. It is bigGer, lowercase b though, uppercase G for the second name, all one word, no space. Or you can just look me up as Jerry Williams.
Yeah, we have you tagged. If they go on our Facebook page, I have you hyperlinked. So all they have to do is click on your link and it'll go right to your page.
So for those of you that know me, I'm a good, pretty outgoing, easy going, get along guy. Don't really cause any trouble or nothing like that. Started the music scene, met my buddies from the Boys Upstairs through music. If it wasn't for music, I met a lot of good people through music. I would have never known anybody from Crowbot, the Collins brothers. They come out to my shows now. I go to their shows. It's just like it becomes one big happy family, even
the music scene and the support in the music scene is unbelievable.
Right.
So
you have to be like that.
Yeah. So, I put a video out the other day with Japan 4. So Japan 4.
I just went to see them. They're a really good up and coming band. I thought.
Yeah, very good. They do good covers.
Yeah.
Not so much originals yet because they're trying to find a front man. But they do really good covers. They tear a show up. They're energetic. They're fun. But we were there that night. It was Trippin's last show, last Japan 4 show, and I counted about 6 to 7 different members of bands that were representing another band that were there that night, or past musicians that were there that night to show that local support and had fun. And then the very last song of the night, they played "Quiet Things That No One Ever Knows" by Brand New, and everyone was on stage just singing. Yeah. It was so much fun.
Yeah, if they're looking for a frontman, I'll get in contact with them. And I'm looking to sing for somebody. I'll see if I try out, see how I do.
Yeah, I think right now they have Liam from Mahatango is doing it. Have you ever heard Mahatango yet?
Mm-hmm. I've seen you did interviews with them. I never heard their music yet. Do they have like YouTube or Facebook?
Facebook, Spotify. So they're like
so they're like legit then if they have Spotify. Then.
Yeah, okay. So they're kind of like the 2000s ish emo punk pop.
Oh, nice.
So it's kind of like that. Like I call it the sad boy music.
Yeah, I'm a depressed music. My originals are all depressed. Yes, that's what I write about.
I live on that music. Yeah. So I don't want to say all their music's like but you could tell that there's substance to their lyrics. Like it's like a breakup, like they went through something, the heartbreak, like honestly, like, and me saying this and had other guests on the band shows, and this is not a knock, this is not saying I'm ranking, but I have really high hopes for that band. Like I think they have a really legit shot of doing something. They're talented, like they're young and they have their head on their shoulders. They possess characteristics that a lot of bands don't. Like I think they have an advantage of having a lead singer that he's a bigger dude. He's a bigger dude, and most frontmans are the pretty boys.
Knock the bigger. Well, yeah.
Yeah. And I think if people, it's kind of like The Voice. If you listen to their music and you're like, oh my God, this is so good, I like this, and then you see them live, you're like, that's the singer? That's awesome. You know what I mean? Like they're just a really cool band.
No, you're not too. A lot of your, let's say, bigger guys, because I'm not knocking a bigger guy, I'm a bigger guy. They can. I don't know why we could get our voice. I mean, we could project our voice.
They have more vibrato.
You look at one of my favorite bands is Blues Travelers. I remember when they first came out, you didn't even know who the lead singer was because they wouldn't even let him on stage in the videos back then because he was a bigger guy to sing his songs.
We talked about Fall Out Boy.
Yeah.
When Fall Out Boy first came out, they put Pete Wentz on the front of everything, and people thought for the longest time that Pete Wentz was the front man of Fall Out Boy, and then then they're like, oh, it's the chubby guy. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it was.
And you know what the funny thing is? Like when I saw you, bigGer, I'm like thinking you're a Blues Traveler guy. I was almost gonna be like,
I say them already.
Yeah, at least like John Popper and Flint, and I was like, I didn't want to bring up until you'd be like, "Ben, don't bring it up." I'm
no.
I'm like, I wasn't gonna do it. So, but you brought it up, so fair game.
So real quick, more about myself. So I want to get into this. I want to do an interview like just about my life, but I wanted to bring it out a little bit here because I want to get stuff off my chest. But so you get in the music industry, everybody that's been in there, even locally, a lot of sacrifices. You were playing out all the time, especially when you start to get a following. People like you, bands or bars are calling you, people are calling you. They want you to do stuff for free. They want you to play here. They want you to play there. So every weekend you're doing something. And then like somebody's like, oh, I'm going here this weekend. You're playing. So you're not, you can't go out. Then like if you're married or have a girlfriend, and that takes a toll on that because then she wants to do something, but you're playing. And it goes back and forth. And then eventually, if anybody wants to get in here, it's going to happen. You can talk to anybody. She may slide off to the side because you're out here and they're not paying attention no more. So for people that know him, I am going through a divorce right now. We are really good friends, me and my wife. Will always will be. Mostly my fault. Wanted to put that out there so she can hear that because she deserves to hear that it was my fault. But anyway, just be aware of that when you are getting into this whole game or whatever you want to call it, because it does get pretty stressful, especially when you're trying to, like right now, I'm going to sing tonight. You hear me? I don't know how it's going to go. People may like it, you may hate it. You got to do something to try to just keep pushing on through and
playing different keys.
Yes.
So you can voice
keep tuning that guitar down, lower, so you don't have to sing so high.
It's the same thing here, man. Like I'm very, very fortunate with my wife. She's super, super supportive, but like next weekend, like people are like, oh, you coming out next Saturday, Sunday? You will not see me out. Like you have to make, like, it's tough. It's really, really, really hard. And how you were saying, not only do I do my shows and I do a lot of shows, but I also like to go out and market myself and be seen and talk to people and make that connection. Because the only way you're going to grow is that way. Like nothing's ever in life is going to be handed to you. If you want to become a person who gets paid to play music and legitimately make money and people respond to you, you got to put yourself out there.
Oh, hey.
And it's hard to juggle friendships. It's hard to juggle relationships. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because like obviously I haven't really hung out with Steve in a full, like I said, I was with Steve every day. And then once I started this, I really don't see Steve or Dave or Tom or anybody, like, because I go see other bands or I'm doing my podcast or I'm going to wrestling events. And so it does, friendships, relationships, they do take a toll. And it is a very, very hard thing. That's why I always say, like, support these people, like these musicians, the podcast. There's a lot of work that goes into this. And it doesn't take much for you to hit a like button or to go to a show and pay a $5 cover.
If I'm not playing on a weekend and I'm around, I'm not on vacation or like that, I look on, well, now you don't have to look in the paper. I look on Facebook. If there's 5 shows like a couple weekends ago, like you see me, I've seen you around. We went to Goodfellas. We went to see a couple of them bands. Then I went over, I seen the boys upstairs for a couple songs at Hot Rod. Then I seen you back over at the Roundhouse to see Bad Maggie, who I thought is another great up-and-coming band. I never heard them before. That was the first time I heard them. I just try to get out and see as many people as I can.
Have you seen Apollo 88 yet?
No, I didn't get. They didn't play tonight at Goodfellas. They played the next weekend. I didn't get to go down there to see that. Too. Yeah, they're really good, and they have good originals. But a lot of people don't realize their originals are that good because they do a lot of covers, and they'll sneak an original in. That's what I try to do too.
Yeah, here's the cool thing with Apollo 88. They can sneak one of the originals in, and people would never know it's an original. If they never said this is one of ours and just played it, people like, oh, this is awesome. Like they're like, I wonder what the song is because like I got to look that up now. That they're very talented. They're very good too. Like I said, the music scene is unbelievable right now.
If it wasn't for that guitar, which I do thank my wife for, because I would never had all these opportunities, I would have never known.
It's like a blessing and a curse.
Oh my God! You go to an open mic night. There's people that can play music better than the people that are playing music don't even do it. You know what you mean? I'm just the people. This area is just like I never realized how great the talent level is in this area.
It's unbelievable.
It's just a matter of people giving you the chance to actually showcase it. That's really what
and the support of this area. Like I said, I call it musicians hour. You go to a bar at 11:30 at night, and then you see, there's Crowbot. They're standing there watching came out to see the boys upstairs or something like that, and vice versa. The one that I was playing, there's Eddie, Chris, and Keith Collins standing there watching me at a bar over in St. Clair. I was like, oh my God, they came to see bigGer. Like, holy shit.
That's what I was going to ask you.
And then they would give me shout outs from the crowd. I'm like, oh, you're all nervous then. You're like shaking and like.
So if you're playing a show and I guarantee if Chris was sitting here right now, he'd be like, please don't do that. Like, because Chris is such a humble.
Oh yeah.
Such a humble dude.
I'm a reggae guy. Not too many people are. I hope they start playing out again as Gorilla Pack. I thought they were a great band. I used to go see them all the time over at Trippin' Billy's and stuff.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So like, it's like, I'm sure like if Chris were to hear this, he'd be super complimentary. Like if he walks in a room, people are like, oh my God, Bishop's here. But he's so laid back and chill. He'd be like, oh my God, I hope that's not what I do to people. You know what I mean? Like,
when you're a guy like me, a small time cover band like me, and you see a guy from a band like that that's touring with like Zach Wilde and stuff, it does kind of do that a little bit. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. The one time I was playing, I don't remember which. I think it was him. I don't remember which member it was. There was a cajon there, and they actually just started drumming with me. Like I'm like, didn't even know
was it Chris or Brandon?
I think it was Chris. Brandon has the longer hair. It was Chris, yeah. And I said to Tom, I'm like, who was that? And he's like, that was the guy from Crowbar. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. That guy did not just drum with me during a song, a cover song. I was like, oh my God.
It's so cool. Like that was a cool thing during the Japan 4 show too. Like they'd be on stage and Brett, the bass player from Look Alive in Mahantango, he came up and sang like a Fall Out Boy song. Yo, that kid could be a front man. Yo, he is so, he was jumping, scissor kicking.
And it's not easy to get up there in front of people and do that. Trust me.
Yeah. And then like the guy from Japan 4 went up and did a little bit. Like the Collins' little cousin Brett.
That whole family is just amazing.
It's just, I love, like, honestly, I'm like, people say like, if you were to live in the lottery, I couldn't wait to get out of this area. I would never leave. I love it.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, yeah, it's a good place to live, good people, cheap cost of living. It's just
and the things in this area that people do struggle with that do bring us down, and it like how obviously we do have a rampant drug addiction problem.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I mean, obviously we do have an alcohol problem.
I'm part of that. So
as we're all drinking, right? But we do have, we do have our issues. But at the end of the day, if we just support each other,
exactly, and get through it,
and come together, instead of seeing someone going through something and saying, "Oh, it's not my problem," help a little bit. I mean, like obviously sometimes people they don't want the help, or they got to figure it out themselves, but it doesn't take much to just reach out. You know what I mean? Like depression, suicide. It just, there's every day you log on, there's something new happening, or you're losing somebody else. It just sucks. And it doesn't take much to support each other.
The other night I was playing, I don't know if it was a weeknight or if I was playing somewhere. I came home, I looked at my Facebook. It was late at night, and we went on live about, losing these people that were losing left and right and stuff like that. Hey, my number's on my Facebook page. If you're ever, I'm the same way. I mean, I'll come pick you up. I'll come talk to you, hang out. If you're ever in dire need that you need somebody to talk to, you can always call me.
Same here. I'll pick you up. We'll go for a ride. We'll talk.
Because I know I do it. I'll call Tom sometimes, or I'll call my buddy from high school, John, that I haven't seen in 10 years because he has kids and got married and raised a family, and just talk if I need to. You just got to do that.
There's been plenty of times where I cried on Steve's couch.
Yes. And there ain't nobody out there that ever says that they never did that. So.
Yeah. Sometimes you need your buddy to just share a couple tears with, and then at the end just laugh and have a good time. It's important. But that'll pretty much wrap it up. Now, bigGer will be back. He's going to do an interview.
I want to do the interview.
Yeah, I didn't want to put much out there.
Yeah, me neither. I want to get myself ready for that, because that's going to be a big one.
This one here, I know you said you want to talk about, but I'm glad you brought it up and talked about it, because I didn't want to pry.
Yeah.
And that's the thing too. Like, I want people to hear this. I'm not going to have you on here and I'm not going to pry at your situation. Right, That's like when people say, well, what questions are you going to ask me? I'm just going to ask questions based on what you already said. I'm not going to pry. I'm not going to dive into your life. Like, I'm not going to, even if we personally know each other, I'm not going to expose you like that. That would never make you uncomfortable. You know what I mean?
Much make you comfortable.
Yeah.
Of what kind of content you want to,
because at the end of the day, for how much I love you to death, I love your wife to death.
Oh, shit, great. I tell everybody that, like, they're like, well, can I still talk to Lisa? Well, why wouldn't you be able to do that? I mean, we're still friends. I would never ask somebody not to talk to her because we're not together.
And you guys are super.
And you were with us the other night. We were out just hanging out, having a couple of beers, laughing for the old time's sake for a night. I love
both of you. You guys are great people. But thank you so much for doing the podcast and having some beers with us.
No problem.
And we'll have you on soon.
I think it's a great thing you guys are doing.
I appreciate it.
I'm a wrestling fan too. I watch them all, so I think you're doing great. Yeah,
we're trying.
My dad used to take me to the Hamburg Fieldhouse when I was, I have a real quick story about that before you.
I got all the time in the world.
Hamburg Fieldhouse. What's the guy's name? I can't think of his last name now. The manager for that. I think he owned ECW for Paul Heyman.
Paul Heyman.
So he had, back then he was like a nobody. I'm talking. I was 8 years old, 9 years old.
He ran ECW.
Yeah, so this was like before ECW. This was like local like guys trying to get up into there, like. So we're in the Hamburg Fieldhouse, and this is I forget the tag team's name, but he comes out and he has this golf club, and he's yelling like that's how he was. He'd yell at the fans like, "Arr." Well, back then they had these wax like Pepsi cups that you got your fountain soda in, like little ones. So I'm like 9 years old. I'm like, Dad, I don't like that guy. I crumble it up. I was in like the 6th row. I throw it, whack right in the top of his head. He comes like right over to me, like, oh, with the golf. It was the awesomest thing I ever had because he was like right there, experience in front of me.
The Hamburg Fieldhouse puts on still.
Can they still do it? Yeah.
So there's a Outbreak Wrestling. Their next show actually isn't in Hamburg. It's in Reading.
I thought it was in Birdsboro, but
that's it, Birdsboro. But it's
that's close to it.
That's like right outside of Reading,
yeah.
But Andy Header, who's with RPs, he's one of their superstars. I mean, he does everything, but he's an Outbreak guy as well. But I mean, their shows are good, and like I said, you go in there for like $10-15. You get a ticket, and you can sit front row.
When you go, let me know. I'll go down with you. That'd be great. Yeah,
it's a fun time, man. And they have really cool stuff there. We have a good time. We go there, and then we go to PPW in Hazleton.
Cool, yeah. I like all that stuff. So
True Wrestling is another big one. Then there's the ones in by Allentown. There's a lot of local wrestling.
I didn't even know there was that many around. Yeah,
there's tons.
There's so much, and even like with like Tony Deppen, he does some stuff too. But
Tony
Deppen's
wrestling. What's Sean?
Ty Dillinger.
Well, it's Ty Dillinger, but he can't.
Sean something.
He can't go by Ty Dillinger anymore.
Yeah.
But Ty Dillinger was a big NXT star. Then
I remember it.
Yeah. Then he went to the main roster and didn't get much attention. But our local dude Tony Deppen is going to wrestle him at a show.
Oh, cool.
Andy Header just wrestled Gilbert.
Oh, I remember Gilbert. Yeah. Okay.
Andy Header just wrestled Gilbert. Like and then a couple months before that, he wrestled Bob Holly.
Oh, I remember
he wrestled.
Bob Holly,
remember Blanchard? He's part of
the
Terry. Well, his daughter Tessa is a wrestler.
Okay.
And he just wrestled his daughter. Yeah, like he's making waves, man. The kid's good, and like I said, the talent and just as much talent as in the music industry.
Is he like a big jacked up guy or like a thick guy?
He's like a little bit. He's like a middle of the pack guy.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a super like. If you've watched the Tornado Tag, he's the guy with the long hair.
Okay, I see your things. Yeah,
Matt Hardy looking guy.
It looks like Matt Hardy. Yep. Yeah, super. Like I said, we're trying. Like obviously the podcast, I don't want to oversaturate with interviews because if I book 14 people to do interviews, I don't know what I'll have next month.
Oh yeah.
So it kind of gives me space.
I'll just fill in when you need.
But the reason why I created the other show, like the wrestling, the pop culture, the Bangin Beers, is to kind of give the show and the page content, but the main focus is the interviews. But the interviews is kind of like, oh, we do 3 a month, so it's kind of like like making it. You want more, but we're not oversaturating it. Yeah. Like I said, we've only been doing this since November, and we're up to we're closing it on 70 videos already.
Yeah, you're definitely doing things right. I like it.
We're working hard, man. We're pushing, we're trying, and we're just trying to stay true to ourselves. People out
that I want to tell their story.
That's why I always try to tell people. Be like, a lot of people now are like, oh, well, are you only doing musicians and bands? Well, that's pretty much the people. I don't try to approach, like, if I know you have a story, I'll say, hey, are you interested? Right. And if you give me a no or I don't know, I'm leaving you alone. I don't want to push anything on people. But a lot of the times that people want to come on the podcast, it's because they've approached me. Right. If you come up to me, all right, I'm going to be completely honest. If you come up to me in a bar and you're smoked and you say, I want to be a part of your interview, my exact words are going to be to you, message me on Facebook and we'll talk. Because I'm not going to book you in your state of mind.
Well, you should interview that person in that kind of state of mind and see how that interview goes.
Yeah, and then the next day, I'd be like, can you please take down your all the hours of editing and stuff you did, because I'm way embarrassed because I was hammered. So I try not to do that, but I'm open to have anybody on. Like, I want to talk to people. I want people to get their story out there. The thing that I'm not saying it's a strategy, but it's been helping me is having the bands on. Because then the band's people see my project, they support it and like it. Then they go and see another band. So the band kind of 2 months that we've been doing, or 3 months, has been cool because I think it's putting more attention on other projects.
Oh, yeah.
And then maybe the next couple months we'll focus back on stories again. You know,
I think it's funny too, because most of the bands that I've seen, including myself here, the same names keep coming up. The new up and coming bands keep coming up. So everybody, the support is great. I just love it.
Yeah, and like I said, you want if you're like, I'll just even focus on just Pottsville for the most part, because I wish this side of the mountain would get bigger with music. The only place really is McNiff's.
Yeah, and the only people up here I really know that are doing it is Maggie's doing her own thing now. I see from
awesome.
Tulsa Jack.
Yep.
I know. You ever hear of Johnny Maymont from Shenandoah? He's my cousin Jack Baczynski.
He used to be part of Ghost Town.
He's his friend. Yeah, Ghost Town. Yeah.
I think he's part of a project called the Fire Trackers with Plasko.
All right. Yeah.
Yep. But I actually grew up with Maggie.
Yeah, Maggie's a good girl.
Me and Maggie grew up together. We were like, she just played at Culture to Culture.
Yep.
And she plays this Friday at Culture to Culture.
Cool.
Her and her brother Robbie. But yeah, so like Pottsville, you want to see some cool bands. Almost every time you drive by the Greystone, there's probably someone playing there.
Especially now with the warmer weather, the deck's going to be open. Yeah. Thursday night, somebody will always be there.
And the Greystone gets really good musical guests.
Yep.
You're not going to walk into the Greystone and see someone who's not good.
Right.
You got Hucklebucks hasn't had a band in a while, but they do
a lot of original there. A lot of original music.
You have to be original play there. They don't allow covers.
Correct. That's why I started writing originals so I could play there, because I always wanted to play there.
Hucklebucks to me, and I don't say this because it's dingy and dirty like what I'm going to compare them to, but they remind me of CBGB.
Yeah.
CBGB was like, we don't do covers here.
And I like that. That's a good thing.
I think it's awesome. Another place you can get craft beer on tap.
Yes. That was, you know what? I probably, that might have been the first place I ever tried a craft beer without knowing what craft beer was. Yeah. I just seen something and I got it. I didn't even really know what it was.
Crimson House is starting to put some acoustic acts
Pat Burns is doing a great thing.
And now that they're buying Trippin', it's going to expand. So maybe you'll see more music in there, hopefully, because Trippin' was a big music scene.
Yep.
The Wheel is starting to put some music in there.
Yes, they are. Yeah.
Goodfellas is starting to get revamped.
Yep.
Rob Hampton's working his ass off to get bands in there. So I mean, there's places every weekend. Strikers.
Yeah. I'm a solo acoustic guy usually, so I play Strikers in the summer usually when they open the deck up on a Sunday afternoon for Sunday Fun Day or something. Yeah. That's a great time just doing that.
Yep. So I mean, if you're looking for something music wise, it's out there.
Yep.
If you want heavy metal, it's there. You want acoustic, it's there. You want 90s, 2000s covers, we got you covered. You want country, it's there.
Yep.
I mean, it's cool. And like I said, all these bands, all their links are in the description. bigGer's there as well. Yep. If you want to book him, he's always available. But that'll wrap it up for Bangin Beers.
All right.
Thank you guys so much, and we'll see you next time. Wednesday and Thursday episode. Mm-hmm. Tuesday, I'm actually shooting my first interview where I won't be making eye contact. That's going to be interesting.
Wow.
I'm calling into California to talk to Cody Vidal.
Oh, I know Cody. He's a UFC fighter too.
Yep. So we're going to talk to Cody and kind of he just had some kind of a setback in his career. He just hurt himself pretty bad. But he'll tell his stories of growing up in Schuylkill County, following his dream, being a mixed martial arts fighter. So we're going to have that interview Tuesday. Speaking of music, if you want to go see a really cool a band, we talked about it a couple of times here. Crowbot is playing in Lancaster on Monday. I will be there. If you want to come hang out, we'll be there. Wednesday, we have things that weren't cool in high school. Our topic this week is video games, movies, comic books, or television shows that came out and you were really, really excited for, and it was just a huge letdown.
I mean, have to really dig deep into that one.
And then Thursday for Tornado Tag Podcast, our topic is going to be right now ratings are lower than they've ever been for wrestling, for WWE.
Yeah, I agree.
WWE's ratings are plummeting, but not necessarily plummeting as bad as you would think they're plummeting, but
noticeable.
But it is noticeable. So Vince doesn't want to hear that people have watched it on Hulu. So a lot of people don't have live TV. People don't do live TV anymore.
And I tell you what, for $9.99 or something, I have it. That WWE channel is way more. You get the pay-per-views for $9.99.
Yeah, but the other problem is you have to wait a month to see what happened on Raw.
Oh yeah, see, no, okay. I watch Raw on regular TV, so I never go right to the channel.
So I watch mostly Raw on Hulu.
Okay.
So I'll watch the next day, and they actually cut stuff out, which I don't like. But the thing is Vince, if 13 million people watched Raw on Hulu the next day, but only 2 million watched it on Raw the day before, Vince says, I got no numbers. He doesn't want to hear the Hulu numbers. So ratings are down, but not in the
really. If they're watching on Hulu, they're not really down.
Yeah.
Though.
So it's down, but it's not down. It's weird.
So he's not seeing the money from the Hulu, and is what he's saying.
He's not seeing if it's going to increase or breaking even.
So Vince is more of he's a TV's number guy, but the street like Jimmy Fallon. Jimmy Fallon, his views may not be amazing when he's live on TV, but he'll take a very big skit and put his skit on YouTube.
Yeah, that's what I watch most of them.
And his YouTube videos will get 16 million views. Yeah. So Jimmy goes, all right, only so many people tune into my show this week, but our skit got 16 million. I'm happy.
Exactly, yeah.
And then the TV company goes, I'm cool with that.
Oh, they are? Okay,
yeah, there's still people watching your show that's going to eventually, that'll carry over. Vince doesn't want to hear that. So ratings are down, but not. So there's a catch-22 that a lot of people aren't talking about. But our topic is why are they down and what can be done to fix that. So that's our topic for those 2 shows this week. And then next Sunday, we're doing our Infinity Gauntlet episode. It's going to be a Marvel-themed episode.
Oh, cool.
And we're gonna
Ben's always
like
afraid I'm going to spoil something. He's crazy.
No, I'm not spoiling anything.
I'm a pro.
That's right. You got
you said Infinity Hop.
The Infinity Hop. So we have beers that are related to the Infinity Hops and the Gauntlet, and we have 7 beers. We're going to have some people on. The guest list is still in the air of who's coming, who's not. But we're going to be live next week drinking some Marvel-themed beers.
It's going to be a mother of all episodes.
And talking some comic books.
Vince McMahon, you want to get ratings up, bring Goldberg back. That's the way it goes.
He is.
Yeah, but not when he used to do those. I used to love the skits where you'd see, like, you'd hear the music, and then he would come out, and all of a sudden you would just see the cut him spearing, like, The Rock or something.
Yeah.
Like, it was all
so
like
Goldberg is coming back. He's coming back to Saudi Arabia. And the rumor is
for the soldiers. That's awesome if he's doing.
Well, no, he's going to. So what the problem is, he's not going to Saudi Arabia for the soldiers. The dictator, like the guy who's like pretty much murdering people in Saudi Arabia, has big checkbooks. So he literally says, "Come back to Saudi Arabia. I'll give you this check. I want this superstar here, and I want him to be the champion." So the rumor is
he's going to win the championship right there.
Probably.
Who is the champ now?
Kofi Kingston.
Yeah.
So what they're probably going to do is Kofi worked his ass off for 11 years. Has been there every single day. Every Monday, every Tuesday, every week, doing live shows, working his ass off. And Goldberg, who's been sitting at home for 6 months, is going to come to one show
the same with Brock Lesnar
and get the championship.
But hey, maybe the week after that, they'll let Cole beat him again and give it right back to him.
Probably not.
You don't think?
No. They literally gave Brock the title for almost 2 years, and he was on TV 4 times.
Listen, the guy can't complain. He has a cereal named after him.
Yeah,
that's criminal.
So that's why the ratings are as low as they are, because they're so willing to bring back these legends because they think they're going to get a quick rating spike. But they have superstars who are super talented that the fans want to see get their work, but Vince doesn't want to give them the push.
Right.
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah. So, all right, that's going to wrap it up. I know we wrapped it up like 4 times by now, but that's our episode of Bangin Beers with bigGer. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
All right.